Hi, I'm Phil Cooke, and welcome to the Phil Cooke Podcast. Today, we're going to be a little different. We're going to talk to Angel Jordan, who is leading the Spanish-speaking initiatives at the Billy Graham Ministry Organization, also Samaritan's Purse, reaching out, trying to make pastors and churches aware of the growing, I should say exploding, Hispanic-speaking community here in the U.S. The Spanish-speaking community is just unbelievable. It's growing like crazy, and everybody else gets it. All the secular companies out get it, but the church doesn't seem to. So we're going to have a little conversation today about why it matters and what your local church can do to really engage the Spanish-speaking community more effectively. Stay tuned. Angel Jordan, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. I'm really excited about getting you on here because I've wanted to talk about the Spanish-speaking Hispanic audience here in America for a long time.
Oh, Phil, it's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me and the opportunity to be here in your podcast.
Well, it's really funny. For years, I have blogged and I have written and spoken about the fact that the Hispanic audience in America isn't just growing, it's exploding. And everybody seems to get it. Beer companies, Nike, Apple Computer, all these secular companies seem to get it. The one group that doesn't seem to get it is the church. And it's always frustrating because I just see so few churches trying to make an outreach into that community. So I show up at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, a few months ago, and I was invited to speak at the Latino Summit, which is a part of that. And so I go into the conference, and before I speak, you're speaking, and the stuff you talked about was just eye-opening. It's amazing, and it's exactly what I've been talking about for so long. So sorry for that long little spiel. I just wanted to get you on here and talk about just how fast it really is growing and what the church needs to be doing about that these days.
Yes, the growing is incredible. It's amazing, and I don't know if we are talking about the Hispanic community. Should I speak in Spanish here in the podcast, or English is okay?
No, English.
No, I'm joking.
You're killing me here.
But yes, the times are changing. America is starting to look and feel a whole lot different, as you are just saying. That diversity really is America's future. In 2011, that year, the birth cohort of babies, the first time the majority is from the diversity minority. So those kids that were born in 2011 now are going to schools, to high school, to everywhere. And so the population is changing today. Now we can go to a park and see and hear different languages, smell different flavors in the park, and even in our neighborhoods we can see a lot of diversity. And as you mentioned, we need that diversity at church doing ministry. God is the one that created diversity, and God in his sovereign grace is the one that brought the Latino or Hispanic community here to the U.S.
So let me, I see it a lot because I live in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles has had such a, growing number of Spanish speakers for so long. But just to bring everybody on the same page, tell me the difference between the term Hispanic and the term Latino. What is it? Is there a difference? What's your view on that?
Yes. Hispanic refers to the language. Hispanic is from the Spanish languages. So there is 21 different countries in the world where the official language is Spanish. So it's where Spain came and discovered these countries. But then Latino refers to geographic, to a place. So that includes, for example, Brazil, that they don't speak Spanish, they speak Portuguese, but they are in Latin America. So it's more Hispanic refers to language, Latino refers to location. As I mentioned, 21 different countries, but now we have 22, including the United States, because the United States.
The United States is the second largest Spanish-speaking country, right?
Yes, yeah. After Mexico, United States is the country where Spanish is more spoken. So yes, it's growing.
That's just incredible. And I love your comment earlier that we passed the mark where now more children, the children born in America, there's more Hispanic children born in America than there are any other kind of children. And we just can't deny the fact that it's time we started reaching out in ministry to a lot of these people. Now you travel around. Your job with Billy Graham and the Samaritan's Purse is to reach out to really inform people about that growing community here in the U.S. and talk about how to reach out to them, how minister to them. What are you seeing out there as you travel around and talk to different churches and ministry organizations? Are people starting to finally get the fact that, yes, we need to really make an impact in this community?
Right now, it's very critical, the Latino community, because we are being the economic power, and 2.7 trillion is the power of the Latino community. So we are giving a lot to the economy. If you put together the economy of the Latino community here in the US, we will be the 7th strongest economy in the world, and they grow faster than China. So we are the youth as well. One of 4 children is from the Hispanic community. So I can give you more data as we are talking, but yes, churches are starting to open their eyes and trying to ask, how can I reach the Latino community? What we need to do, and that's why we, with Billy Graham and Samaritan's Purse, a couple of years ago, we started this department as Hispanic Initiatives, just to discover how could we partner with the Latino church and different organizations to mobilize the Latino church, to reach the unreached people group and to bring the gospel to the ends of the earth.
So give me some ideas. If I was a pastor out there in Tulsa or Dallas or Atlanta or someplace, and I recognize there's a growing community, Spanish-speaking community in my town, what would you recommend? How do I start? What are some places to start?
Yeah, I will give you a little bit of before. So we started getting together all the national denomination and the Hispanic leader of every denomination here in the U.S. And in 2 years, we have gathered them for 3 times already. So 26 different denominations together in the same room, and just one, to pray, and second, to ask, what are you seeing in your churches, in your community? How do you see the future of the church? Being that projections are saying that in 2060, the Latino community is going to grow and grow more. And this is not because of immigration, it's because of birth. People are having kids now. So we discovered in these gatherings that we have 6 topics that we all need to focus more to reach the community. These 6 topics is, we need to pray more. We need to discover how to reach the next gen and kids. And this is, the Hispanic community has a different layer. For example, adults speak Spanish and kids speak English.
Yes.
So how could we disciple them? Relationships. We need people that around us, and transformation. We need to learn, as the Hispanic community, we need to learn how to put our faith in action. The American church is very strong on that, and we haven't learned that in Latin America. We haven't learned that we can use our faith to impact our community. So we need help from leaders here to teach us on that, and pastoral care. But then we have 3 needs where other communities could help us. One is finance. You know, the Latino community is growing a lot. As I mentioned, we are a strong economy. We are the 2nd largest force for vote in the coming years. We are the youth, and we are taxpayers and everything. But at the same time, we are still strongly in finance. And this is due to the lack of education. So we have a big community with a little bit of education. The numbers are improving, but we need education in different topics. This could be, for example, you can partner with a Latino church in your area to give some training on finance, on church administration, on offerings and donations, or even in evangelism. We are developing, because our mission is evangelism, we are trying to develop training on evangelism, but we are partnering with organizations to say, hey, you are good in economics, please come to the church, and these pastors, they need that training. Media, Latino community, we are the #1 adapters to the new media, internet, and everything, but we still need more education. And there are a lot of churches that have a lot of resources that could bring some different trainings to a church. Doesn't need to be money, doesn't need to create a new church.
Yeah.
You probably have seen different Latino churches around you that you can come with the pastor and just say, how can I help you? What training do you need? I'm gonna come, I give it to you for free or something.
I love that. I love the idea of partnering with a Spanish speaking church. And you make an interesting point that this, the second generation speaks English. In fact, I have many friends who are second generation from Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, here in the US. They don't speak Spanish at all. Their parents wanted them to integrate into the US, wanted them to learn English so badly that they wouldn't allow them to speak Spanish. And so they forced their kids to learn English. And today they're very fluent English speakers. So there's a lot of opportunities and ways to reach out.
Yes. And that is something that we can assume that all the Latinos are the same. As I mentioned, the Hispanic community is from 21 different countries. So the U.S. government a couple of years ago put us all together in the Hispanic term, but we all have different cultures.
It's true.
Even you as an American, you be in California, you act and think different from somebody from here in North Carolina, where am I today. So now imagine 21 different countries in the same people group. We are different. So you need to learn what communities living around you and what characteristics do they have. For example, for me, I only have 9 years here in the US. I just moved 9 years ago. 7 years ago, I started speaking English. I still struggling a little bit. So for me, when I started working with Samaritan Spurs 7 years ago and going to churches, I made that error that look somebody like me and think, oh, he speaks Spanish. Thanks God. And so I will approach somebody and, hey, ¿cómo estás? And he will look at me like, what are you saying? Like, why don't you speak in Spanish to me? And so I need to learn, because we need to learn that even that the people look like a Latino, nobody is the same. So different languages. But what it is the same is the heritage love. Even if the second generation, third generation, they don't speak Spanish, they love the culture. 68% of that generation, they say that a lot of decisions that they make are based on their heritage. So that's why, for example, the Latino churches losing the youth because they don't speak Spanish. Some pastor doesn't speak the language. So the youth is moving out of the Latino church, looking for a church that I understand the language. They go to a English-speaking church. They understand the language, but they don't like the culture. They don't find the flavor. They don't find the rhythm, the music, and the friendship, the community. So now the youth is asking, where should I go back to the Spanish-speaking church? Or should I just leave church because there is no church for me? So sadly, we are losing some youth from church at all, because not all of them come back to the Spanish-speaking church. Not all of them fit in the English-speaking church, and they are just getting away from God. So if you are living in a community, if your church is in a community with a lot of diversity, I always challenge the churches. Your church needs to be as diverse as your community. And one thing that you can do is just implementing different rhythms in the music, put some people from that community on leadership on the stage or something, because representation matters. Even if you say in your vision statement, my church is diverse, but if you don't show that on the stage or different stuff, if I don't see me on a stage, it will be hard for me to relate to your church.
Yeah.
So just study your community and see what people is living around you. And if it's the Latino community, we have some cultural values that are strong with us. And I can give you some ideas. For example, we love family. So
Yes.
we are
Yes. Absolutely.
we're a community culture. So the the Hispanic community is concerned with family unity. If you provide something for family where the family could be together, they will love you. They will come to you, because family doesn't only imply individuals that are related to them. For us, family is everybody that is a friend. That's a struggle for me. For example, with my wife being from Indiana, she's American, be Latino. When she says, when we were getting married, and she says only family members come to the wedding, well, like, well, explain to me, what do you mean about family? Because for me, family is cousins, uncles, aunts, and everything, and even friends.
Yeah.
Uh, we all another cultural value of the Latino community is sympathy. We think that being respectful and courteous is an important characteristic for everybody. So we treat people well where they are. And there are kind of different cultural values that we can develop, that you can learn to engage with the community.
And it's so simple. Just asking, going to that local pastor or someone in the community and talking about culture. I just think your culture point is so important. It is 21 different countries, and it's not like 21 states in America where we have a fairly common culture. It's 21 different countries, and everybody is so dramatically different. And I must say that Billy Graham taught me years and years ago. I was part of the production team for a number of TV specials years ago that were broadcast around the world. And he wanted to make sure that everyone was culturally sensitive. So he would send us to Italy or to Africa or to Europe or to Asia, different places around the world, to shoot local singers and local speakers and personalities and integrate those into the program that was going to air in their region. So I learned early on from Billy Graham and the team there how important cultural sensitivity is. And you're so right. It can make such a dramatic difference. It's not just a matter of having a Spanish speaking church, in the afternoon on Sunday in your building. It's trying to integrate them and understand their culture and just make it work. So I think what you're saying is so incredibly important, just incredibly important.
And one step that you can give, everybody loves food.
Yeah,
Even if
true.
you don't speak the language, if you invite somebody to share a meal, that food has a language that we don't know how, but we can communicate in a table, sharing a meal, and something very powerful and deep happens in that table. So you can go and knock the door. I have helped a pastor here near Boone, where I live. He wanted to reach the Latino community, and I have gone with him. You can look for another easy example. Look for one person of that community. This pastor looked for me. He's like, I don't attend that church. He saw me. We met, and he's like, there is some Latinos around my church, and I have been going knocking the door, but they don't open the door to me. Could you come with me just to introduce me with them? So I came with him, knocked the doors, and we started laughing with the person, and
Yeah.
why they didn't open the door to this white guy that was coming to their house. And I was telling them, he just want to invite you to a meal. Come this Sunday, share a meal, and they have great time. And now a couple of years later, they have a group that is growing there. So find somebody that could be your bridge with that community, even if you don't speak the language, and then share a meal. Look for opportunities. I won't say look for needs to cover, because there is a lot of organizations, non-Christian organizations, are giving a lot to the Hispanic community. For example, food, clothing, all that stuff. During COVID, it was sad to see here and the Hispanic community that they had a lot more than enough. because a lot of churches, what they do, I want to reach the Hispanic community, and they just bring food to the community. But imagine one community receiving from 10 different churches. They are overwhelmed, they have too much, but nobody goes to the deep needs of the community, or then the deep strengths of the community. As I was
really
saying,
good.
education, training on something, or mentorship. The children, imagine if the Hispanic children are the future, we need to start mentoring them now.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
they are the ones making decisions in the coming years.
Yeah.
So, and we are wasting the time to invest on that generation just because they look different, or because they are not my people, they are not my community. But
So
if
true.
if we love United States, I always challenge even the Latino pastors. I always challenge them. You know, we came from different countries to United States because United States is a blessed country.
Yeah.
But if we don't start equipping our kids today, what country are they going to live now? I have a 6 and a 3-year-old. If I don't start mobilizing the community today, the United States they are going to live in the coming years is going to be very different. So I challenge even the Latino pastors. A lot of American churches send donations to, for example, I'm from Guatemala, to Guatemala. And if those donations stop, many ministries in Guatemala will stop. But what will happen if the Latino community becomes the majority in the coming years, and we haven't learned how to give, we haven't learned how to impact the community, we don't have enough finance to live for us and to share.
Yes.
Because we didn't make a decision today. So that is going to change. So I will say start looking to mentor kids and make a discipleship. So even in the Latino community, what they are saying in the economic sphere, or is like, if you made it now, teach somebody else to do business. And I think that, and church is the same. And Jesus challenged us to go and make disciples. So if we just start starting different trainings, opportunities around our church, sports, school, math, science, a lot of different different topics that we can share with the kids. And the kids are easy because they speak English. You don't need to about any other language. You need to start looking, and you are prepared the future of the United States.
That is so true. That's so true. Let me ask you this: where can people find out more? Is the Hispanic Initiatives Department on the website at BGEA? Where can we find out more?
Yes, yeah, in the website now, part of the work that we have done, we have put everything in bilingual. Samaritan Spurs and Billy Graham is bilingual. We are creating TV specials, as you were saying. That you were part of a couple of years ago. We're creating. It has been funny to hear now Billy Graham in Spanish, preaching very powerful and the community. But we are having some summits of evangelism, or evangelism summits in different cities in the United States, where we are trying to mobilize not only the Latino church but everybody to go and bring the gospel to everybody. So summitevangelism.com, you can visit that, or the Billy Graham website, or Samaritan Spurs website.
We'll put those links. We'll put those links in the show notes on the podcast and on YouTube as well, and to make sure people understand and can go there for more information. Because I just think what you're doing is so important, and I really appreciate you coming on the podcast to talk about it, because people need to hear this.
No, thank you. It's an honor. I have been following you for years. I started media and marketing, so you are kind of the person that we follow to learn. So now, when I hear from you that you wanted to be in the podcast, I was telling my wife, "Wow, this Phil Cooke is the one that I see to learn, and then I'm gonna be talking with him." So Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
Oh, that's fun. You do a great work, and I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing. So, you know what? I may have you back in a year or so and give you some updates and if things are going well. I'd love to see us get this word out in a bigger way. And so, again, thanks for being on, and we'll stay in touch. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Share it, rate it, give it to people that you think will benefit, who are struggling with their creative life and how to get to the next level of their creativity. Sign up for my weekly newsletter, philcooke.com. You can go up there in the upper right-hand corner, click on the newsletter. It's a compilation of my 5 top blog posts every week, emailed to your inbox. It's an easy way to get it. It's absolutely free, and it'll really help inspire and motivate you to go to the next level in your creative life. Thanks for tuning in.